Hey, how's it going everybody? Hey, Ruben here. So I've been wanting to actually get back to making some regular non-CNC wood type stuff for a while, but one of the problems I had is I have way too much junk laying around here. My shop slash garage has turned into a hot mess. If we look around here, there's just stuff everywhere. And part of today's video is just making room to get this place squared away. One of the biggest issues I have right now is I have way too much scrap material stuff back there. We've got all kinds of stuff back here on the floor, back behind the planer, the lumber rack, which actually about a week ago was way overflowing. There was stuff hanging off of there. And also, usually I have a pile of scrap up here from when I finish stuff. It goes into the pile and then I figure out what I can salvage out of that stuff. So first step I need to do before getting this place cleaned up is I need to get some of this lumber out of the way. And actually what you're not going to see in this video is about a week or two ago I had taken all the long cutoffs from previous projects and out of my scrap piles from probably about the past month or so and cleaned up the lumber rack a little bit to get rid of some of the long stuff and made up all of these panels right here that you see stacked up right here. You'll see more of those here in a little bit, but there's 9 or 10 of them right there. And my intention is I'm going to make a bunch of random pattern cutting boards out of those. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make some large ones and then some small ones to go with some of them, because I get a lot of customers that request similar or kind of matching smaller ones to go with some of the bigger ones. So first thing we need to do is we're going to pull all those panels out of there. We're going to get them planed down to different various thicknesses, and then we're going to go from there. So we're going to get to planing, and I know I get a lot of comments. I'm probably not the safest person when cutting on stuff, but I actually have iPro today. And one of the things I do want to mention is in the title I say from mostly scrap. Most of those boards that I'm cutting down today for these cutting boards were scrap. However, I did take a few other boards, smaller boards, and cut them up to kind of seed them with different colors. So I'll say probably 85–90% of those boards were from scraps, cut-offs from past couple weeks, 3 or 4 weeks actually. And then I did cut up a little bit of Padok and Wenge to kind of seed some darker colors in there. You're going to notice throughout the video, during some of the cutting, I'm going to be wearing a dust mask because Wenge is kind of an irritant for some people respiratory wise. I'm just getting over about the past month of having real bad sinus infection and some respiratory problems. Might be unrelated, but I'm not going to take a chance. So we're going to get to planing these down and let's start making some boards, see what kind of cool random stuff we can come up with. Alright, now we got all these panels, 9 or 10 of them, planed down to thickness just to get them nice and smooth. For this project, it's important that I have boards that are varying thicknesses because the pieces going across are varying thicknesses. I also, on the other axis of the board, want varying thicknesses also. So even out of these 9 or 10, they're almost wide enough, just one strip of each put together to make a wide enough cutting board, but we're going to take it a little bit further. So when you're trying to randomize stuff, you figure 9 or 10 boards here, if you flip the next piece to go in, however you decide to arrange them, the opposite way, then you end up with, say, 9 here, then 18 possible alternating, just to randomize it. I'll show you that here in a little bit once we get these cut down into strips. So I'm gonna get these off of here, out of the way, get the table saw set up, and we're gonna start cutting some strips. Note at the end, I'm going to leave quite a little bit at the end of each board. I'm not cutting the strips out of yet because I'm going to save a little section from each board that later, after I cut the somewhat thicker strips for the big cutting boards, I'm going to use the remnants to cut some somewhat thinner strips for the small boards because they don't need to be quite as thick. So we'll get set up and start cutting these up. So we got all of our boards cut into strips with the exception of the end pieces that I left that are going to be used for the smaller boards because they're going to get cut slightly thinner. So all of the strips I have sectioned off into the boards that they came from over here, and the stack was actually a lot bigger, but over here I've got set up 2 boards that I'm going to glue up a pattern I kind of like. Not really a pattern, just a nice mix of different strips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make 4 similar to those out of what's left over here of the large ones, and I'm going to closely make smaller ones that match those, and then with the remainder I'm going to go ahead and try to do up some other random ones to see how many I can make out of them. So out of that stack over there that I just showed you, these are some of the parts or pieces of strips that I had pulled from there to try to arrange into boards. So these 2 I kind of like a good mix. Or actually I got a good mix in here of what I like and color variation and stuff. I guess I kind of forgot to mention at the beginning of this video is in all of these panels there were, let's see if I can go over all the woods. There was red oak, white oak, hard maple, walnut, cherry, sapele, purple heart, wingate, padauk, and I'm pretty sure there's a couple other ones in there, so got a pretty good mix of different woods and stuff. And look kind of bland right now, but they'll look a lot better once they're all done up and then oiled and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull more parts to replicate a similar pattern to these two that I have set in right here, and I'm gonna get those glued up, and then we'll go from there. So we're in the middle of gluing up all these panels. Actually, I've got 4 that are already glued over there and 4 more that are on glue up right now. So out of the batch that we were doing, it looks like I'm gonna get 7 large ones in the 16 to 18 inch range, and then another 5 smaller ones, some of which will be paired up with the larger ones. So looking through the footage I've done already and chopping everything down, trying to keep everything short, and these videos to about 15 minutes or so. I'm gonna cut this one off right now at this point, and we're gonna make this a 2-part series because we still, after this part, have to square up the sides. Everything has to get planed down, and then we go into the finishing process, which is gonna take a little while, especially for, I think total we're looking at 12 or 13 of them. But as always, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. I'm already editing this video footage, so I should have this uploaded within the next day or 2, and should be finished with the boards by then, and then it'll only be a day or 2 after that when I get the second part uploaded. But until then, have a good one.